Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this, your Pisces October 2023 reading and forecast. Hi, I'm Nigel Saint James, clairvoyant, and I've done a number of one-on-one clairvoyant readings for Pisceans from different countries over FaceTime and Skype over the course of the last month. And if you might be interested to see what's involved or just curious, have a look at the information below. Now, separately, I've also done a number of healing sessions with people. Now, I was given two spiritual gifts, I think, as I told you, clairvoyance and healing. Now, readings I charge for, but this soul contract, which I must have, says that I am to use the gift of healing, provided I get nothing in return for it. But I must use the gift. So, healing is provided to you or someone else if you know them. They don't need to know me. Where it is free, there are no catches, it is without obligation, there are no strings attached, and you won't be sold or recommended any product or service or anything like that. We try to be talked into anything. It is what it is. Now, great to see the subscribers again. You know I love to see you. Thank you for inviting me into your home. I really do appreciate your time and your companionship. It's great. Now, let me see. We're going to take 5 cards. You know there are no video advertisements breaking their way into this content, so you get to enjoy everything without interruption. Let's take your 5 and then get straight into the reading. What's this? Page of Swords. 9 of Swords. 2 of Swords. Temperance. And the Star. Nothing bad about that at all. So, why don't you come now, sit down here next to me. You and I will have a good, close look at the imagery on these cards together while I do the reading for you. Now, let's have a look. Oh, there's some round and round and round worries going on in your head. You're going to be pushing on here. These things want to talk about probably something which is related to this, because that's related to that as well. So let's start with, let's give the reason to start with this Star card that's here, Major Arcana. Underneath this 9 of Swords, it seems for some reason to be a focus of what's going on, this 9 of Swords. But let's have a look here. Well, here there is a woman standing in the stream of consciousness, parting it around her. Her feet are planted against the force of the river, indicating that she is just the personification of feminine power and spiritual strength. Now, she is also practical and grounded, I think, and she pours water back into the stream while also pouring water onto that lush grass that's on that earth there, that green earth there. Now, the stars of the sky, they are all represented by these things here. And the zenith, that is the highest point, would be represented by this 8-pointed star. And an 8-pointed star was in Christian daily life for at least 14 or 1500 years, said to ward off evil. Now, this energy here of the star comes to you in dark times. You are now looking for maybe a deeper meaning in life. You are searching for your truth. You are looking for peace of mind, I think. Now, the number of this card is 17. 17 is the number of dreaming, promise, perception, and imagination. And it brings spiritual evolution by finding your true self. Now, the star offers you guidance, inspiration, and focus on your path towards understanding your destiny in the universal plan of understanding your soul path, your soul contract. And it reminds you that the universe provides you with a continuous light that shines on your individual path as you travel through life's experiences. Now, when you feel lost or despairing, or experience a lack of hope, or find yourself avoiding situations, then this energy shines brightly on you, your true inner self. It guides you to trust your inner voice and intuition. Your inner voice, not necessarily your dark thoughts. And it will then be the case that by you receiving this, or what I would call divine light, you connect to a deeper understanding, which leads to healing, increased self-esteem, self-love, and self-trust, which then open you up to receive cosmic inspiration from the divine. Now, this is bringing you hope and healing. Now, astrologically, this is what I would say Saturn ruling Aquarius with Neptune exalted. Well, look, Aquarius is all about the individual and uniqueness, isn't it? And yet it has an overall humanitarian outlook. Well, the star shares these qualities in that it is trying to remind you about the divinity and the uniqueness within you, while encouraging you to be a pipe for bringing down your highest potential. This is about self-recognition, a clear vision, a trust in yourself, a connection to the divine. It's about hope, happiness, opportunity coming your way, optimism, and cosmic blessings raining down upon you. You know, you're going to come across a new, crystal clear vision that gives form and purpose to that which only a moment ago was just a vague impression. You will gain a more penetrating view into the boundless potential of your development. The power of the inspiration that you receive will give wings to your soul and let the apparently impossible become marvelous and turn up in the most incredible ways. You will dispel bad thoughts that haunt you. You'll have increasing self-esteem, and you will find that there is something new that you'll be bringing to life. Now, the encouragement is being given to you that although you may have had some testing times in the past, well, now is the time to move forward with renewed hope and live an inspired life in which you can express yourself fully. Now, let your star rise, but stay in contact with the earth. Trust your environment and find ways to let others share in it. You will be tested and recognized by the fruits you bear. Are you totally fulfilled in your present area of work? And check to see if you are doing everything possible to bring your ideas into fruition. But say this to yourself: I am a radiant light being. I am a star that walks upon a bigger star. I can see what is benefit to myself and people around me, and my creative powers of imagination and my connection to all-encompassing consciousness, well, they show me the way to realize my ideas. Now let's go over here to the daughter of the reconcilers, the bringer forth of life. Here is Temperance. Now, what we have here is a lady with one foot on the rock and another one in the water, which is the stream of into the subconscious, is what I would say that is. And she's pouring water from a silver cup, feminine, into the masculine gold cup. Here is the crown of enlightenment, and this is, I assume, the spiritual journey that you are making along the way. But it's very green pastures around here. Now, well, she could well be an angel, I suppose, and she's pouring from that silver cup of the moon feminine and subconscious energies into the golden cup of what I'll take to be the sun, or masculine and conscious energies. Now, back and forth, the radiant liquid is being mixed between the cups, setting fire to your life force and imagination. Now this magical fluid becomes a transformative potion of love that unites opposites, bringing inspiration and ideas into action. Now, her number, as you see here, is 14. And 14 is the number of mental foundation, of imagination, and of will. It's also the number of the awakened spiritual self integrated into the material world. I think she's melting away conflict, or he, or both male and female, I suppose. And in this process, there's a rebirth of yourself. And you also bring together the spiritual and the material worlds, the conscious and the subconscious self is what I'm getting around here. This is very much about the unification of opposites. That is, where things don't seem to be able to fit together, you can bring them in and bring a balance about. There's also an inner change. A change in the way that you look at things, I think, is what's happening here. It's almost a quantum leap in the way that you look at things here. There's an action that you take now that's based on what is a sensible, accurate assessment of a situation. And you have success after what have been, well, probably quite complicated dealings up to date. And I also get the feeling of escape. That is, of you getting away from something, or you getting out of something. That is, of you getting away with something here. Do you know, there is, if I can put it this way, within you, buried within you, a jewel, a sacred jewel, a diamond, a hidden stone. And that is that aspect of the divine which dwells within you. And I think what you're going to do is you're going to look into yourself. This is asking you, look into yourself to find that sacred stone that's there. This is a challenge to look inward. In this phase of bringing together opposites, this transformation process isn't going to tolerate any pushes or hurdles from the outside. Now, to find the hidden stone, that diamond, you have to go within. So what does it mean for you to find your hidden diamond? Close your eyes and visualize a fountain of energy in your body and bathe a while in this rejuvenating current and say to yourself, I equally value the light and dark within my own nature. I am a well-integrated person. I surrender to the transforming powers of the divine. I am an open channel for creative energy. Now, having heard what these two cards have to say about you and how protected you are, let's have a look at this Nine of Swords that's here. And what's the astrology of it there? The astrology of it there would be Mars in the second decan of Gemini, first the 11th of June. Look, the one-pointed nature of Mars does not sit well with the scattered energy of Gemini. And the other thing here is that 9. Well, 9 represents the cycle of returns, the loop. And in the Suit of Swords, this is a negative thought loop that can also come out in the emotions as well. But it speaks to me of a sense of cruelty to yourself, self-accusation. You see, nobody knows your Achilles heel better than you do. You could be harder on yourself than anybody else can be, can't you? You can punish yourself. This is speaking of almost like a passive resistance to something that's here as well. Now, the card can also mean feelings of guilt and regret from things that we have done or said, and those energies, you can then turn them in upon yourself. Now, these unwelcome thoughts very often come in late at night when you are feeling the most vulnerable. Guilt, worry, suffering, old memories of what people have said or done to you in the past, what you should have done, choices you've made in the past come back and torture you, or you torture yourself with them, really, leaving you alone in your personal prison where isolation prevails, and your inner demons can feed upon your fear and doubt, causing emotional pain and anguish. Now, the key here is to recognize, confront, and work through your pain. The gift of this card is the realization that, well, look, you are not alone, but you are connected to everything, to the divine. In a sense, you've created a personal dungeon when you let these thoughts come round and round and round in your mind. Now, all the negative actions or thoughts you have suppressed or avoided, they can come back full circle to haunt you. These thought patterns and actions have imprisoned you in a web of circumstances where it seems impossible to free yourself. You see, your mind is being tortured with no apparent escape. Your first instinct is to blame others or circumstances for your situation, but hiding behind that dark shield won't work anymore. See, it's almost as if the spirits brought you to your knees to face your personal demons, putting you back on the path of love and light. And it's time to confront these dark places and demons, to neutralize them by shifting your focus from the negative thoughts to a higher consciousness. Now, this can symbolize any circumstance that troubles your heart and mind, signaling a time of retreating almost to a place of sanctuary as you process worry or grief or loss. It's a time for releasing pain and cleansing the soul and the heart so that healing can occur. Now, the lost part of your heart, with some past relationship or someone that you knew, that lost part of your heart can never be filled, but with time, if you allow yourself to be in the light of love, you can grow a new heart. And with respect to feeling guilty about things that we've said or done in the past, or decisions that we've made, or things that you've done or said or failed to do or say to someone, let me just say this, that despite what you may believe, you can disappoint people and still be good enough. You can make mistakes and still be capable and talented. You can let people down and still be worthwhile and deserving of love. Everyone has disappointed someone they care about. Everyone messes up, lets people down, or makes mistakes. Not because we're inadequate or fundamentally stupid, but because we are imperfect and fundamentally human. And expecting anything different is just setting yourself up for failure. Remember, nobody is perfect. Now, the other thing that I'll say is this, is that sometimes when events in the past have not gone our way either, we can be like a boat that's on the surface of the water, and when something hasn't gone our way, or someone said something, or a relationship's broken up or something like that, we drop an anchor. And then we want to move on, we pass on. Then we get to a point, though, where the line becomes tight and the boat can't move forward, but it just goes around and around the end of the anchor rope. It just goes round and around in a circle. That's what often happens with these things here. Well, what I'm saying is that with respect to people or life events, you've got to forgive them, to free yourself, to release yourself. It's you who is released when you forgive. It's not the other person. And people say, oh, it's too hard, I've tried forgiving people. Well, look, maybe look at it like this, and it is that. You see, I see that forgiveness is giving up the hope that the past could be any different. Now, I know you may think that forgiveness means accepting what has happened to you. Well, I don't mean that at all. It is accepting that it has happened to you. Not accepting that it was okay for it to happen, or that it should have happened, or anything like that. It is accepting that it has happened, and now, what am I going to do about it? What am I going to do? Get on with my life. You see, forgiving is giving up the hope, not holding on to the hoping and wishing that it could have been any other way than it actually was. Giving up the hope that the past could have been any different, or was any different. And when you get that, it will take you to the next level of being a more complete person, because you don't hold grudges for anything or any situation or any person. When you let go, the past no longer holds you in a prison cell, and it can't hold you hostage to life. So dispose of those fears. The other thing that I would say with these thoughts is that when a thought comes into your mind like that, ask 2 questions of the thought. Number 1, does this thought have any value? Number 2, what is the behavior of this thought? Does this thought have any value? What is the behavior of this thought? And if you do that, you see, you'll go from being in the position where you are being judged by the thoughts, that you are the victim of the thoughts, that you are on the defensive against the thoughts, and it moves you to the high ground where you are actually judging the thought itself. And you'll find that when you continue doing that, these thoughts will be starved of oxygen and they will evaporate into the inky black night. And you will, as a result of that, get peace. I know that you will, because this is telling me that, because I see this with this card in here. It's the moon ruling the first decan of Libra. Now, the moon, of course, is very much about subconscious as well, as this card was also talking about you being in the subconscious. She had a foot in your subconscious. And a lot of these things, these thoughts that we have down there, they're buried in the subconscious, aren't they, with this 9? Well, the moon in Libra, that's a really happy combination, I think. Now, with the moon here, you likely have a deep need for peace and harmony in your life. Now, Libra is symbolized by the scales in astrology, isn't it? And then it talks about balance and adjustment, and this includes anything in your personal environment, your work, or your relationship with others. Now, I think that the purpose of this card is actually really about neutrality. I don't think it's either really terribly, it's not bad at all, it's not good at all. It's just saying take some inner peace. But it is going to leave you with the power to make decisions, and decisions regarding a situation or relationship which bring about mental and emotional peace. Now, see what's also here. Did you know that your moon sign, incidentally, describes your instinctive or emotional energies here? Did you know that inner peace is a special gift? Protect it, but never try to cling to it. Now, it may have been, or is the case, that you might be having something of a difficult time making up your mind about something. I don't think it's anything acute. It's actually just like this cloud. It's in the background here, but it surfaces up every now and again. You might lack the information that you need to make the right decision at this time. But when you get it, it's like the light goes on and you can see the situation for what it is, and you'll be in a better position to make the decision that's right for you. Now, what areas of your life are especially important to you? Because you can now come calmly to the necessary decisions. Take the time for deep relaxation. You're in a good position now to examine your past, your present, and your future. And maybe write down your insights and say this to yourself: a deep peace fills my heart. And then in comes the hurricane. The hurricane. This Page of Swords is like a hurricane or a tornado or a cyclone or a typhoon is what she's like. Here she is, the princess of the rushing winds. Well, now I see Aquarius, Pisces very much around you. Capricorn could also be here. Now, obviously, Pisces is around here, so this is here. Now, her character can be stern and revengeful, and her logic can be destructive. Now, she can be firm and aggressive, but she has a great practical wisdom and subtlety in material day-to-day things. She actually shows great cleverness when it comes to managing day-to-day practical affairs. She's also really clever and good at sorting out problems and sorting out arguments between people, is what I see here. But she is speaking to you now of a time when you come out of the clouds and into clarity. She's saying to you that now you have a victory over your moods. There is a sort of a rebellion element going on here. She is the page, she's earth, and swords, she's air. So earth and air are in conflict with one another. But she is able to take thoughts and manifest them into earth. So she, like you, will be very good at getting thoughts and turning them into a reality, which is what I see going on here. She represents a fresh mental clarity which shakes everything up. She's demolishing things with this sword that she says here. Now, every change, every inner conflict you experience sends things flying into the air. But she doesn't allow the dust or the debris caused by the destruction of the old and the useless to cloud the clarity of her vision. She uses her sword to sweep away moods and disruptive thoughts which arise. Now, she's actually very strong and aggressive. She deals well with practical issues, as I say, particularly when there are strange, almost paradoxical elements involved. She brings about the materialization of ideas. But she can't be quite destructive, aggressive, and there's an element, you actually may have an element of revenge here. Now, she's very forward and outgoing in her manner, and she sometimes appears to be fighting battles on the inside and the outside. She represents someone who's following their own way of doing things rather than serving another. And in due course, it seems that she's chosen the right thing. It's as if she's thrown everything overboard and says, I'm going to go and do this. Everyone goes, oh my God, what are you doing? But it turns out that she's done the right thing. Now, this could mean for you following your heart, following a lifestyle, maybe starting up a small business. But of course, because she's in the suit of swords, any small business isn't going to take off straight away. You realize that. Now, your thoughts and visions may cut down holy altars at times. So don't let yourself be buried by any flying debris. Don't allow your moods to take hold of you. Remain true to your real ideals. Now, what old altars are present in your surroundings, in your life? And have you the courage to destroy them? Look inside when you rebel and see if your rebellion is rooted in love. And say to yourself, my rebellion is positive, constructive, and creative. Well, what a fascinating spread of cards for you. And didn't you do well? Good job, you.
I've got to say, I loved spending that time with you. I really did. And what a great month it looks like it's going to be for you. A few ups, a few downs, but very much on the positive side altogether, I think. That's what's going on with you. And don't you deserve it? I think you do. It really is time for you to have some good times, aren't it? Now, look, if you did enjoy the reading, would you do me this favor? And it's all I ask, that on the way out, please hit the like button, or do it now if you would. It's good for the computer or YouTube, whatever it may be. And unless you contact me privately, I'll see you again next month. And until then, remember one thing though, and it is this, that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. And until then, it's bye for now.